always joy.
It's always joy.
It's always chosen.
It's always chosen.
And always black. And always black.
I'm always black.
Hello, everybody. I don't even know. I can't even contain the smile that I have right now. I am so happy and blessed to have this good sis on my platform. There is no words for just the amount of stick-to-itiveness that she has in terms of showing up all the time, supporting everyone around her, not only on screen, but off screen. That is very hard to find sometimes within the entertainment industry, but you can see the authenticity just literally pour out of everything that she does. I feel like this call smells like shea butter and like, Valentino. Like it's just giving Lux right now. I'm all the way here for it. So we have no other than the superstar herself, Miss Yvette Nicole Brown. How are you doing?
Yes, that was an amazing intro. I'm doing great. I just finished the VU. So I just threw my dress off and was like, let me, I want to be cute, but I want to be comfortable cute for my girl. So I was like, let me try to find something that's just less up there, bring it down just a little bit. So
you could have came in a ball gown and I'd have been like, sir, yes. Okay. We need the sequence. But thank you so much. Jumping right into it, you have a career that spans across generations, decades. And on top of it, you've been able to reinvent yourself, which is something that I know can be difficult when it's in a fast moving industry like entertainment. How do you find it, how do you find those moments to flow and ebb within your career? And how did this all get started in the first place?
Well, I think it's important. I say this all the time to young people in the industry, but it's really for any person in the world at any age. You got to know how to switch a lane every now and again. We have the things that we love. We have the things that we're good at. And we, of course, should do those things first, but then also have a little side hustle or something else you can bounce to. So how I started as a singer. I was signed to Motown when I was a teenager. I was in the East Coast Family with Michael Bivins and Boys to Men and all that back in the day. We did a one song. I did one song with them called One for All for One. And there's a video. And if you look at the video, the name Yvette goes up and then I come up some stairs. And that's me. So I started as a singer and thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a singer. And singing was like, I don't like you like that. So that was my first time learning that the thing that you love may not be the thing that you're blessed to do as a career. So I just shifted to acting and I did a staged play. I toured in His Woman, His Wife, a David E. Talbert play for 8 months. And then I came and got a commercial agent, started doing commercials, then started doing sitcoms and then movies. And then it just took off from there. But throughout it all, it's if commercials slowed down, I'm like, let me see if I can be a host. Let me see if I can do voiceover. You just kind of find another lane. That's what you need to do just to keep your mind active, right?
I love that. And I think on top of it, I think it speaks to a lot of times, just the lack of ego and the fact of look, if this door doesn't open, I can get a crack here. This window can be open. I can completely just morph and change. And I love that about you and the fact of how you're honest about that. I never go on your platform. It's just all my life, I have not had to fight, you keep it real about that.
Yeah, because I think it allows other people to fail when you show your failures, right? If I'm going from mountaintop to mountaintop, there's no aspiration or inspiration for anybody in that. Cause then it looks like I'm magically delicious. There's something special about that Yvette. Ain't nothing special about me. I just keep going. And the fact that I show when I fall and when I'm hurt and when I'm crying and when my heart's broken, I show those things because it lets people know it's okay. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have a job not go your way. It's okay for a dude not to like you back. All of these things are okay. I try to show our shared and combined humanity so that other people, when they wake up and they're having a bad day, they don't feel like it's just them. It's never just you. And another thing, everybody ain't balling out of control like they pretending to be.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? It's not, you got to understand that not everybody showing their highlights is having a day full of highlights every day. And so I like to show, the rough days too.
I love that. I mean, and look, everyone has always been trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's a real saying, but it's you will go broke and be unhappy trying to do that. So I first fell in love with you watching Community. And to be quite honest, I actually took time out and went to a community college. And so that was my first hit, if you will, in the real world, because at that time I was trying to rebuild myself and figure it out. And I'm like, what happen? Like, how did I get here? So seeing like your character Shirley on Community, I was like, oh, I go to school with these people. I am this person. Like, it's okay. It was relatable.
Yes.
But are there any characters that you ever have been like drawn to more than others? Or what is it that kind of like helps you get in the inspiration so that you can deliver these performances so authentically?
You know what's so funny? In the beginning of my career, that check was my inspiration, my motivation.
Keep it real.
I'm like, they're gonna pay me. Listen, they're gonna pay me to let me go on. I really, in the beginning of my career, I didn't really take a lot of time going, well, how do I feel about this? I've always been mindful that I am a Black woman, that I'm a woman of a certain size, that I'm a woman with natural hair. Like, there are certain things about my physicality that I know someone that looks like me may take the ride through me as they watch this piece. So I always try to pick roles that don't disparage Black women, that don't disparage women of a certain size, that don't make fun of women with natural hair, or in the case of Shirley, Christian women, because I'm a Christian as well. So I always want to make sure that as I pick a role, that it's something that I can lovingly portray, even if they're flawed. And Shirley was very flawed. But even if they're flawed, I want to make sure that there's a twinkle, or there's something in there that people can latch onto or learn from. Sometimes the roles you play are your cautionary tale. It's not like be like me. It's don't be like me. Let me show you how horrible this will turn out for you if you live life the way I do in this movie, right? So it all depends on that. I will never take something for money or clout or whatever that makes Black people look bad. That ain't never gonna happen. Like, every role I take, I'm always like, I gotta honor who I am, the body that I move through life with. I want to be a credit to my race. So I try to make sure that I don't harm us just to pay the light bill.
Exactly. I love that. Peter ain't going to be looking at me like, oh, so on this day, explain this. Because if you try to get to the left side of heaven, like, we got to have a conversation. So I love that. In terms of just even looking at the world though that we are living in today, every morning I wake up and I'm like, are we on chapter 3 of Revelations? Is it giving like, Revelations? Like, where are we at in this process? Yeah. How have you maintained your sanity, your peace of mind, and just navigating? We're past navigating ambiguity, just navigating at times the insanity that seems to be happening all around us.
I am an introvert, so a lot of what goes on in the world, I am not a part of, because I'm home with my dad, who I take care of, and my dog. So that's part of my sanity, just keeping my sanity, just trying to remove myself from the fray when stuff gets a little crazy. I also, everybody knows this, like, I'm not even embarrassed to say it anymore. I love building Lego. Like, it is one of my favorite things. It centers my mind, and it lets me not think about anything else except having a perfectly built Yoda when I'm done, or a perfectly built pickup truck, or whatever I happen to be building. So that's another way. And then I also remember that, none of this is forever. Even us being in this space, this earthly plane, is not forever. So if it's not something that's ever going to last forever, then none of it can really matter that much.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's, how do I find a bit of joy today that'll carry me through the rest of these 24 hours? And I'm really only concerned with these 24 hours, even with my calendar, girl. Like, I don't even look at what I have to do until the night before. I don't want to know what I got to do Saturday or Sunday. What I got to do today? So I look at that night for what the next day is. And I only deal with what the next 24 hours is going to be. And that means even if it's a crappy day, I can make it through it. It's 24 hours. Right. I can do 24 hours of crappy, with the hope that it's going to be 24 hours of excellence and wonderfulness the next day,
Yeah, you have to. I kind of take it as like, how do you eat an elephant, or how do you do it? Like, a bite at a time. And so treating time like that, or treating my day, has definitely helped me. I think also I've become very more, I don't know if you can speak to this, but I've become much more intentional about who I am around. Just because energy transfers are real. And I think for me, I finally had to get to a place of understanding my own power in terms of why I felt so depleted all the time. I was like, you know what? It's not that I'm a bad person. It's because I'm a light. But at the same time, like, you keep surrounding yourself around darkness, or around unhealed trauma, or people who aren't working towards the same things you are going to get vampire sucked every single time.
I remember there was a line from Different World. I always say it wrong, so I need to really actually find the episode and make sure I say it right next time I say it. But Dwayne Wayne, I don't know, even know who he was talking to, but Dwayne said, baby love drains you like a tub. Real love fills you like good grub, right? Now he was talking about romantic love, right? But that really works for any situation. It works for the job you're working on, the Zoom interview you're in, your friendship relationships. If it is immature and crazy and negative, you are going to leave that space or that Zoom call or that job or that relationship or that lunch feeling depleted. If it's a higher thing, if it's a God thing, if it's something that you're called to and it's divine, you're going to leave the situation feeling full, right? So you really just need to look at every time you walk away from someone. Goodbye. See you next time. How do you feel? When you hang up the phone from the person, how do you feel? And if you get off the phone and you go, ugh, or if you see somebody's name come up on your caller ID and you're like, ugh.
Like, what do they want? Like,
why are you answering the phone? Like, that's not somebody that needs to be in your sphere. And, I lost my mom last year. It's been about seven months since I lost my mom. And it's so funny. After I lost her, I immediately started clearing house. Sis.
Anyone can get it. Like, anyone. I think, yeah, I'll let you go because that was actually going to lead me into my next question for you. Just like how you've been balancing just the flow and ebbs. And I refuse to say when it comes to grief, the first year's the hardest. Any year's the hardest.
Listen, and I know it's the idea of what the loss taught me in particular, especially this loss, because we all have lost people, but your mom is a big one, your father's a big one. Mm-hmm. What this taught me was life is short, and I no longer want to play patty cake with mediocrity. Mm-mm. I don't care who's bringing it. I don't want to be in a mediocre job. I don't want to have mediocre friendships. I don't want to walk through life with people that are not determined to be better. Mm-hmm. Right? I can walk with you if you are working every day like I'm working every day to be a better human being to other people. If you are not doing that work and it is not your desire to go higher, I can't walk with you no more. I'm going to pray that the Lord send you somebody else to help you on your journey, but it's not me.
I completely feel that. And I think for me, the way I started to say it to myself mentally is like, my daddy didn't believe in me or he didn't believe in me this hard for me to not fulfill my dreams. And that's the thing, not living his life, because my father wanted to be a pilot. Planes freak me out. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to be the aviator in the family. But he always encouraged me, whoever it is that you want to be, I support you 1,000%. And don't come to me with this doubt because I know you have the capabilities.
Oh, now
you have someone that's putting that type of support into you and then they're not physically here. Mm-hmm. You still, though, have that spiritual connection with them of being like, I can't fail because I know I have them guiding me.
Right.
And yes, there are some days where you are just selfishly just like, this sucks. I don't care. I want them here. I want to hear someone respond to me in this conversation. But when you think about the totality of relationships, like, man, how blessed are we to have like those type of people?
Yeah. I mean, that's yeah, like the mourning and the grief comes because of how great the love was.
Yes.
I think you should never forget that. Like if somebody can pass away and you're like, well, it was nice to know you, then you probably ain't love them that much. Exactly. If you really, really loved them, you should be jacked up a little bit. Now, not debilitated. You got to get up and you got to go to your job and you got to feed yourself, walk your dog. You can't like crumble and atrophy. But at the same time, it's you celebrate the life, the little things. Like my mother used to always say to me, she was like, Yvette, everyone that makeup, this is a shallow thing, but it has a point. She'd be like, Yvette, everybody that does your makeup does a great job, but I actually really love it when you do your own makeup, like a small thing like that. Now I've been doing The View all week. I started doing it last minute, right? So they called me at like 5 a.m. on Tuesday, like, Sarah can't come in. Can you do it? So I was like, yeah, but then listen, we're in the middle of COVID. I can't call nobody to come in here to do my makeup. And how can
sets are way more tight than they were.
Exactly. And then to call someone at 5 o'clock in the morning, I can't do that. So I went into the bathroom and was like, okay, let's put on a Maybelline. And I've been feeling great. I did my own face all week. I did my face today. And so as I was doing my face each morning, I heard my mother in the back of my mind going, well, I like how you do your face anyway. Like, it's going to be great. So it's like little things like that, like little things that they said to us or that they instilled in us, they pop up. They just pop up when you need them and they keep you going. And then just, looking in the mirror and seeing them looking back at you because we got their features and, it's all okay. Like, that's what I'm realizing. Like, It sucks. It sucks, but it's okay because this is what life is. And what's the other way? One of us had to go first.
Exactly.
Right? So there's no parent on this earth that would want to go before their child. So the natural order of things is that they're going to have to go before us.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I think also in terms of just the fact of understanding as huge as a moment as this is for us, right? Because I think also one thing that I had to process when my dad passed, I wasn't just mourning my daddy dying. I was mourning who I was when he was alive. There's a thinly veiled lie that is there that they're going to be there forever. So it's like sometimes you can be shallow, sometimes you can be, but it's like then you realize like, wait, no, they aren't. And so that bubble bursts and you realize like, oh, it's my turn on this carousel now. Because as deeply as I'm hurting, I am not the first person in the history of humanity to lose a parent. Like, isn't that deep? Yeah, there's a great equalizer in that. The understanding that this is not new under the sun. Mm-hmm. It is not new to civilization. This has happened since the beginning of time. And
right?
How do you move past, or not even past it? How do you move through it?
Move through, right? How do you?
It's not something you can skate around.
You can, but it ain't going to end well if you do. You better go on.
No, you'll be 65. You'll see like the emotional trauma of people older than you. And it's just like, oh, this is what it looks like when you don't process it.
That's
okay.
Right.
Got it. But even looking at something like that and the fact that you are creative and you are an artist at heart, like how have you been able to kind of like channel that or to still find the joy in what it is that you're doing? I know you just mentioned like that beautiful makeup story in the sense of like you can hear your mother now in that aspect. And first of all, save your money. No shade. Like also if you're supporting Black and brown like makeup artists in the industry, keep going. But you do a damn good job, sis.
Thank you. I'm kind of proud of I put myself together all week. I was like at 5:00 in the morning, I'm getting this hair and face together.
I be knocking on the doors like charging people like, Sonny, you need me to touch? No, I'm kidding. Like just doing everybody's face.
Listen, no, it's great. Like how do I process it all? Is that what the question is? How do I process it all? How
have you been able, and it's okay if you haven't gotten to that point, but a lot of times people channel the grief. They channel like those hard moments,
right.
And they turn it into like the next phase of that artistic expression.
I think that it's kind of like the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. I think that I have learned some things that I don't yet know that I've learned. I feel like some things are percolating in my mind that will spring forth creatively later that I maybe not be aware of, may not yet be aware of. Because the funny thing is, the last 7 months, I've just been surviving, like 100% surviving and making sure that I can still show up for everything that I said yes to before I lost her. So there's been a lot, I did a lot of animated shows. I do a lot of voiceovers. I did a lot of animated shows during the pandemic, and almost all of them debuted and premiered in the 7 months since my mother passed. So I've been doing like Zoom meetings and junkets, and I got nominated for an Emmy for the first time this year. And that was after my mom passed. Thank you, hon. So it's like, I've been focused on just the next, like I said, looking at the calendar and go, okay, I got to do this. So I don't know that in this time, I've taken the time to go, let me just figure this out. I have in the last month started my therapy because I had a therapist and I needed a new therapist that dealt more with grief. And so I've now found that person and just had my second session. And I feel like that will be me really like getting to the marrow of the bone. Yes. And dealing with the things that I really need to deal with that I might not be aware of right now. But the creative process and in the ways that I'll channel it later, I think it'll come to me at the time. And it'll be just like me having that makeup moment. I'll hear my mother and I'm like, oh, this is Fran. This is a gift from Fran.
Yes. I love the fact of how even with you having a therapist and then pivoting to specifically like a grief therapist. I know for me, like I'm in a specific, and I love my therapist. She is worth every penny, and we've been channeling it in terms of like, it's called EMDR. Yeah. So just more so like those childhood traumas that you might have suppressed.
Yes.
Finding a way to, create your happy place so you can navigate through them, but so you can correctly now process it.
Right.
So I know it's going to be a journey. I know it's going to get like heavy before it gets lighter, but I'm happy that I at least have the strength to do it and to hear that, it is a strength to sit here and talk about things that are breaking your heart, you know, and to get past it and be like, whoo,
yeah,
I can feel a little bit lighter and go on to the next.
And then also, this is the thing, like, what if a broken heart is needed in life? What if there's seasons of your life where you need to be kicked in the teeth a little bit or in the gut so that you can process the trauma, so that you can come out of it greater. You know, I don't think God wastes anything in life. I think that if you're available and you're open, he will use anything to make things better for you and ultimately for the world, because that's the whole thing. Like, it was never meant for us to spend an entire lifetime just working on ourselves. Exactly. Like, how just wasteful is that? If you just spend the totality, well, I just want to make myself better. At some point, you got to just get better.
Right.
And then you can start helping the world be better. Exactly. That's the whole point of becoming better, so that you're not out in the world wreaking havoc, right? So get your stuff
Destroy
together.
somebody else's peace because you can't find yours.
You ain't got none. So find your peace so you can be a little bit of peace for the world.
Exactly. I love that. I believe, and forgive, I don't remember the culture specifically, and I believe it's called Ikibar, but I'll definitely research it. But basically, it's an Asian tradition in which if something cracks, they just fill the whole
that gold.
Mm-hmm. And and every time I see a piece of artwork, and it turns like just something so mundane and simple, a teapot, a bowl, a kettle, whatever, into this beautiful piece of artwork. And I'm like, how amazing to think of ourselves like that.
Right.
You know, we aren't perfect, but we can be a beautiful piece still in the end. So one thing that always, I think, has bonded us, even though like it was just a social media connection, is the fact of like, we both speak our minds. And so, and definitely I'm like, now that I work more so in social media, it's just really one of those things like, look, y'all know who y'all hired. So I didn't lie. You knew who I was when I walked in the door. But cancel culture is just all around us. Now, I don't know if this was like the tail end of the millennial generation going now into Gen Z, or when we got this sensitive. But I'll tell you mine after, but how do you navigate through cancel culture? Because for me personally, I think at times like it doesn't make sense, but how do you kind of like just keep your freedom of speech and your opinions when you have such a public following?
I mean, the way I handle it is I don't care. I really don't.
I got a buzzer button. I should have brought it over here before.
I swear to you, I don't care, because this is the thing. I speak the truth. I'm not lying, and I'm not trying to hurt nobody. So, you know, and the thing is, if your feelings are hurt, then you probably did something crappy.
Right. Or it's the way you say it. Like, I'm never going to get on the platform and just be like, F this, F that. Like, it's always, I always try and lead with love. It's
curated. Like the things I've seen you do it. I do it. We say what we need to say, but I try to say it with humor. I always say it with love, but it's always the truth. Like, I'm not saying something just off the top of my head. I've researched it. I've looked into it. I know what I'm saying. And on the rare chance that I'm wrong about a tweet, like, and the reason I say rare chance is because I know tweets are forever and I don't want to lead anybody astray. So I'm even more diligent when I'm tweeting than even just having a conversation with someone. So when I do get it wrong, no one apologizes quicker.
Right.
No one. So if I know that I'm not lying, that I'm leading with love, I apologize when I get it wrong, then what is there to fear when it comes to cancel culture? And the other side of it is, I'm an introvert and would rather be at home anyway. So you want to take my job? I'll just relax. And I save my money. So come at me. What are you going to do to someone that saved their money? So if I lose all my jobs and I'll get a job, I have no problem working. I'll go to Starbucks. This is not deep.
This is something that it was almost scary once I realized. I'm like, the problem a lot of times, it's not the amount of money made, it's the fame aspect.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you one thing, I would gladly be a one-hit wonder for the right song. Okay? Like, you give me my royalties and let me turn this FHA loan into a conventional one, you will never see me again. Like,
I'm always, my eye is always on retirement. People think I'm joking. I literally am trying to get my Howard Hughes on. I want to be behind some hedges and have Instacart dropping off my food. Y'all ain't gonna see or hear from me. Y'all be like, wasn't there used to be a little fat-faced girl used to be on television all the time? Yeah, I'll be in the ether.
Never
I'll be in the
heard. Right,
ethos.
don't remember.
Listen, it ain't that deep. I don't, and everybody knows, girl, that I don't give a crap about fame. I don't want to be famous. I've never chased fame. I'm not trying to hold on to fame. Fame is vapor. I've said that forever. Fame is vapor. It does not exist. It's not real. To want to be that, to want to be followed and have somebody in your bushes taking your pictures and going
now
through.
It's on a completely different level just because there's so many more platforms. Like beforehand, not even to be funny, but we see a lot of these documentaries that pop on like Netflix and Hulu now where it's like, oh, that's what was happening in old Hollywood. But it's like, right, because everyone shut up for 60 years or died off. Now it's a matter of it's frozen in time. We all know Freaknik happened in Atlanta, but the thing is there was no
pictures.
There's no, right. So now your neighborhood politician is out here, all suited and booted. And it's like they were college kids too. But for future, more current generations, everything is frozen in time. And I kind of, at times, I love the reminders that, and don't get me wrong, I delete the posts. I'm like, God, I was an idiot. What was I going through this day? But I love at times the reminders because it does help me show, like, you can't condemn people because you're not the same. Hopefully, if you're growing, I hope you are not thinking like this immature, overly emotional 18-year-old. Like there should be some maturity to you or a little bit of feeling settled.
Right. And then it also goes to the thing about if you have harmed people, even if it was when you were 18 and they call you out on it, do you just say, you know what, what you just said, I am sorry I was an idiot at 18. I said some things, did some things, but I promise you I'm not that person anymore. I've evolved. The time has evolved. This is not like that's the apology. If you get it wrong, you just say you're sorry, but mean it. Like if you say something and somebody don't like it and they tell you have to apologize, but you told the truth and you standing by it, then own it. Now deal with the consequences and the repercussions that come from not saying goodbye. I'm sorry, but don't give no sorry mealy mouth apology if you don't mean it.
Exactly. I'm sorry the way you took it. I'm sorry that's how you felt. What? That's not an apology.
No, because we can see it coming too. Like, don't apologize because you're trying to hold on to your bag.
Exactly. Or your PR team is going,
Come on, man.
You have to say something now.
Yeah, apologize because you were actually wrong. I remember I went through some stuff. Twitter, go through some stuff with Twitter trolls. It sounds.
You had a moment.
I had a moment. So true. But I said some things a few years ago when I was on the View, and I said some things about Melania Trump that I meant that I would say again today. And it blew up and everybody, all the little MAGA people going crazy and whatever. And I never apologized because I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Now, the thing I did apologize for was bringing the heat to the View because I respect the View and I love the View. And my opinions as a guest co-host should never cast a shadow on that wonderful show. So I apologize that my honesty was revealed at that table. Like it should have just stayed on Twitter or wherever else. But I never apologized for what I said, and I will never apologize for what I said. So you have to, if you're going to say it, if you mean it and you say it, own it. Own it.
And that comes with maturity and that also comes with upbringing and home training. To be quite honest, because it's like, I know for a fact, I don't even have to remember at times what I say. I do, but I've always known, like, my parents didn't raise a liar.
Nope.
And so if you come to me with this, I will definitely be like, oh, okay, yeah, so we can talk about why it was said, and now we can even move past it or not. But I love that. And to me, it's kind of freeing because so many other people are so caught up on the image and the branding and the, I'm this type of guru, I'm this person. And it's like, I have absolutely no desire for any of that.
But this is how you get by, though, Joi, if you actually are yourself. Like, brand you.
True.
Like who I am right now talking to you is the same person I am when I'm at the grocery store in the line, same person I am on set. I don't change. I am Yvette from East Cleveland. I have been Yvette from East Cleveland.
Hey.
This earth, Yvette from East Cleveland. You are Joi from Chicago, right?
Not town all day. You Southside.
So this is what it is. And so if you don't change yourself to be accepted and brand, I'm Yvette Nicole. Right. No, I'm Yvette Nicole Brown. Like, just be who you are. If you are who you are, you don't have to worry about the two sides of you and trying to be what you think people need you to be. I don't change for people. I'm who I am.
For you. And I think that's the thing, like me from such an early age having to do that just because, certain religion or just certain things about my upbringing when you finally do break free and finally sit with yourself and realize like, oh, this is who I really am. I'm never going back. So it's like that compromise is just, it's not one I can make.
And you don't have to. You shouldn't have to change who you are. Be who you are. And your tribe, your people, your village, your crew will find you. Your fans, your followers, the people that vibe with you. Like I was thinking about this the other day because I do Instagram lives on Instagram, and my lives in the moment, sometimes we get up to like 400 people, but usually it's about 120, 130 people in there at any given time. And I never stress like, well, I need thousands of people. I don't though. Like the people that are in there are the people that are supposed to be in there. And in order to get a larger following on any of these social media platforms, I would have to stop saying what I say. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm so liberal. I'm so down for the brown. I'm a Christian. Like there's certain things about me that other people who aren't those things are like, I can't vibe with her. She talk about Jesus too much. Or I can't vibe with her.
If I did this, like, hey guys. So like if I would, oh man,
millions.
I'd be rolling in money.
Millions. If I sold some flat tummy tea, millions.
Okay.
But I have the following that I'm supposed to have. And I always say, if it ends up being me and two people on here, we're going to rock on the three of us and it's going to be bomb. It's going to be what it's supposed to be. You can't change yourself to get things. Just be you, and the experiences you're supposed to have and the friendships and the relationships you're supposed to have will come to you authentically.
Definitely. I think that's something, right, where it's like, if you're rushing the process, that is most definitely when you're going to open yourself up to something you ain't want or to a mistake, or maybe a lesson that you didn't necessarily have to learn in that moment. But so talking about your beat face, your edges that stay well moisturized and everything, I need your big sisterly advice because I'm just like, I know I am one hell of a Whole Foods package. Okay. And how are you navigating what is the craziness of dating or just like that life? Or are you just like, look, I'm in that goes and leave me alone?
Listen, I've sort of been that for 7 months. I really have not been looking. This brother's circling like but need him stay moisturized. Yeah. But I personally reaching a certain age. I just turned 50 last year in 2021. Yeah, girl. And let me tell you why I tell people, because I want people to know that it's not the end of the world to age. The alternative is you're not here. And, right? And so I feel like if I tell people my age in the same way that I share my a day that's not great, it gives people permission to celebrate and enjoy their age, right? Now, it ain't for everybody. Everybody got a call. Some people don't want to tell their age because they feel like it'll affect their opportunities. I told you, I'm winding down now. So if I lose out on a gig because I told people I'm 50, then that was not my gig and it's okay. But in turning 50, I'm still single. I've never had kids. So of course the kid thing is over. I had to assess and go, how bad has it been being single all these years? And honestly, it hasn't been that bad. Like I have a lot of friends that are on their second marriage. I have a lot of friends that have a bunch of kids from different dudes. I have friends that are in relationships where their mates don't respect them or honor them the way they should. Some people are in stuff because they don't have the finances to leave to take care of themselves or their kids. Like there's a lot of stuff happening that I did not have to experience. I have a goddaughter who's 16 now, and she's my kid. I feel like I mother everybody. You one of my kids. So I feel like I got to have, the mothering, nurturing part of my life. I still believe that I can find my great love. I don't feel like it's over. If I could still get 25 years with somebody, you know what I mean? I just got to find the right guy that speaks to my spirit and who gets me and who I get. Right. And then we can build a nice life. So I'm not giving up on it. Up to this point, it's been a bit of a shit show, but I have accepted the humanity of the men that I've chosen to love, and I wish them well as they go out in the world and try to find whatever they're looking for. And I'm going to continue to try to find what I'm looking for. But I will say this, do not settle. Life is short, but yet it is too long to be rolling over looking at somebody that drives you crazy. That's just not living, right? Now, the child thing, the wanting to have a child, if that's what you or anyone watching wants to do, for women, there is a time period for that, right? In order to have a healthy child, right? So you want to make sure that you look at all your options, talk to your doctor, and figure out what is the best route for you if you want to birth a child of your own, have a child of your own. That's the only thing that requires thought if you're not yoked up with someone.
Yeah,
But
I'm 32
Yeah.
and now kind of starting to have those thoughts. And that's, I mean, we can definitely offline about this more, but I'm actually about to have a procedure just because I was like, what is bothering me? Like, what's her? And so I realized, like, oh, sis, fun. So, just taking care of reproductive health. And
Right.
it was the first time I actually had to think about, like, oh, yeah, kids.
Yeah, think about it. Think about it, because it's the thing about the career side of things, right? Like, I never decided not to get married. I just never met the guy. Like, I mean, I met guys, but I didn't meet the guy. I never was in a relationship with the guy that would lead to that love and that commitment for me, right? So you have to take a moment to try to figure out what do I want to do? Because while I wasn't meeting the guy, I was consistently working and working and working. And then you look up and it's like 10 years have gone by. Okay, now, you know what I mean? Okay, now I'm turning 40. Okay, now I turn 50. So you have to really take a moment to actually think about it while it's still a viable option for you. So, and again, I'm on the other side. I'm 50 again, and I don't have kids, and I can tell you it's okay. Like, it's really okay. Now, if it is a burning desire for you and I gotta be a mama, figure it out. Figure it out sooner than later.
I always think I've always come off kind of like I've never saw myself in a mother role, but I think it's more so maybe tied into that's the more of a trust or a comfort thing of being with the right person. And, the things you unpack in therapy and you realize like, oh, it's not that I don't want kids. I don't want to deal with the trauma of
right.
reliving what that was like as a kid.
Or inflict that trauma on this poor innocent baby that ain't had nothing to do with what my mama or daddy did to me.
Exactly.
But they didn't love me right now. I'm destroying this child. And this is the thing, like, for me too, it was always like, I always saw kids as a natural extension of a great love. Like, I fall in love, I get married, and me and this guy create this little baby that's a perfect example of our love for each other. So for me, I never found the dude. So I wasn't one of those women that was like, I want to be a mom no matter what. I grew up in a single parent home. I know how hard that is. I don't want to be the reason that a child did not have everything they could have had I had a husband and then had them, right? Exactly. Or a committed relationship and then had them. So again, it's a very individual decision to make. It's just, you're young enough still, babe, where you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. So just decide if it's something that you want, that you have to do. And if it is something that you have to do, you still have time to figure out how to make that happen for you.
True. Also, part of me, the little shallow part, I'm just like, look, I finally got my health goals together and this stomach is getting flattered. Now you're going to throw me back on the other side? Like,
well, you could figure it out and say, I'm going to get a surrogate. I'm going to use my egg, and I'm going to use, the sperm of a guy you're dating, or go to there's a lot of ways. Go to a sperm bank and get a surrogate, and then it's not your body. There's a lot of ways to do it. There's a lot of
no pun intended. There's more than one way to skin a cat in 2022. So right, I definitely received that. But so in terms of even like just navigating your personal and still your professional, like I know you wrote that amazing screenplay, like always. And also because I get, sometimes the words get messed up. I wouldn't necessarily, was it a screenplay? Would you be technically a screenwriter? I know that it was an actual.
I answer to anything. It could be be a script. I'm a writer. I'm a screenwriter. Whatever you want to say is fine.
Okay, that's how I'm like, would this be taken like theatrical? Like, where does this level out? Okay, cool. So I know you wrote Always a Bridesmaid, right? And so looking at that and the success of it, I was just like, okay, adding these credentials. Is that something that was a beautiful experience you want to move forward with? Was it more so like, okay, we've done that now, and now we don't want to do it?
You know what's funny? I remember when Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, it was Matt Damon, wrote Good Will Hunting, and they got the Oscar and whatever. And they haven't written that, to my knowledge, at least not together. They haven't written anything else since then. And I feel like sometimes that Always a Bridesmaid was so fulfilling. Like it did really well. It's on DVD. I got nominated for an Image Award for writing. So it kind of did really, it gave what it was supposed to give in regards to my life. And I tell people all the time, like, I didn't write it like I'm going to be a scriptwriter. Like, I love writing. It's something that I believe I have a gift for. But I wrote it because at the time I wrote it, which was back in like 1998, there were no Black romantic comedies that mirrored the white romantic comedies. Like we had I think Jason's Lyric was out, and I think we had Love Jones may have been, Love Jones may have been out then, but these weren't romantic comedies in the same way While You Were Sleeping was a romantic comedy, or When Harry Met Sally was a romantic comedy. You know, Think Like a Man and things like that came later. So when I wrote this, I was writing the film that I wanted to see. And in my mind, I'm going to write it. And then whenever I want to see it, I'll read it. I'll just pull it out and I'll read it because my mind is very vivid. I'll be able to see Karina and Mark, and I'll be able to see Chicago, and I'll be able to see this world. And it was just going to be for me. And then God had other plans. And a friend of mine, Nikaya Brown, I talk about her all the time. She has a company with our director, Trey Haley, who directed Always a Bridesmaid. They have a company called Tridestin, and they were looking for a romantic comedy script. And I said, well, I got this thing I wrote like 15 years ago. I can give it to you. It was maybe 15 years at the time I had written it. And they optioned it. And then it took 8 years from me telling her about the script to it becoming a movie. It took 8 years. So sometimes, and we weren't in development all that time. It's just life happened. Nakaya ended up losing her mother, and then that took some time from her. And they had some other things that they wanted to do with Tridestin. But then when it was the right time, because I tell Javicia Leslie, who's our Batwoman now, and Jordan Calloway, who played Mark, Javicia played Karina, I say to them all the time, I didn't know it at the time, but I was writing this script for you guys. And when I wrote it, y'all were like 5 and 8. So it took, the Lord waited until you guys were of age to play Mark and Karina, because they were always destined to be Mark and Karina. Even when I was writing it, that's who was supposed to play it. So sometimes your blessing takes a little longer to come into fruition, because it's not just your blessing. It's a blessing for other people as well. So you got to just stay in the flow and let God do what God's going to do. And you plant the seeds and you let God be concerned with the harvest. I love,
oh man, I didn't even think when I wrote this, you were 5 and 8, but I wrote it for you. I
wrote it for you.
I can't even imagine how it would feel like someone said that to me, and just what that, in terms of a full circle moment, and to think of like, the branches that everyone's life, your life truly is not your own, like the extensions and the branches and the people that you touch. It's way beyond just coincidental, Yeah.
I remember after I was a bridesmaid, when Javicia was up for Batwoman, Always a Bridesmaid was one of the things that she showed them to show what she could do as a woman. Right. And so I am honored that something that I wrote that she killed it as an actress in it, was able to show the people at the CW and Greg Berlanti's company, this woman is the shit. She could be Batwoman. And they saw it. Not just that. I mean, her audition was amazing, and she did the things, but I was really humbled to realize that she was able, sorry, my dog just yawned. That she was able to use it as like a calling card for what she could do. Like this, I'm saying, like you just said also, like your blessings are never just for you.
Yeah, they aren't. But we are, I can't even begin to tell you just like how appreciative I am of you, just because when I started Joi Has Questions, like I was with my cousin in our hot little, walk up apartment, and I had just been laid off work. I was just sad all the time. And I started just doing those videos as a way to kind of like just channel myself. And when you followed me back, and I was just like, how in the hell? Like, I know I ain't do nothing with the algorithm.
You did. And this is before the algorithm. Like, I don't even know how I found you, but I remember.
Honest to God, no.
No, I remember looking at your videos going, this sis is just amazing. And I still feel that way. And there's gifts that you have that have not even been unearthed yet. Like there's things that God has planted in you that are going to spring forth in ways you can't even imagine, honey. Like this world is about to open up for you. And you just have to make sure that you don't lose hope, because there's going to be, in every journey, especially one that's for God, there's going to be moments where it's a little bleak. It's a little dark. And you will feel that it should have happened by now. Right? I'm going to tell you something. I didn't even start my acting career really until I was your age.
Wow.
I did Girlfriends at 32. Girlfriends was the first sitcom I ever did. I was 32. So what I'm saying to you is that may seem like, I'm 32. You're right where you're supposed to be. You're right where you're supposed to be. You are, and you're on camera brilliance. First of all, you are smart as a whip. You are a great writer. You're beautiful. You're kind, and you're smart. How could you not win? How could you not? When?
I do not have a makeup artist, and I forgot to put on primer, so we are not about to do this. No, but I receive all of that. I know we have not physically met. I can't wait to do so because I'm like, yay, I get to, well, safely because I'm not, right. I'm like,
right.
Wave across the street. But
Right.
the light that you shine, I think this is a beautiful testimony just to the fact of like, just amazing Black women that I'm privileged to know, to continue to inspire me just by being yourselves. And I've been very vocal about the fact I haven't at times had good relationships with like older Black women. Like that is the crux of my trauma. It's never been male relationships. It's been the women. And, thank you. Honest to God, thank you for being an example of like, just what a good support system looks like.
Well, this is the thing too. Like this is your new day, right? Yeah. So whatever happened in the past. And this is the thing too about the traumas in the past. They serve a purpose too. They really do. Like traumas don't just happen to destroy us. Sometimes they happen to make us stronger. Sometimes they happen to teach us who we don't want to be. Right? So that we can go again. Exactly. So we can go into the world and be better people. And so I believe that you're going to continue to have more older sisters in your life that will speak into you and speak life to you because your perspective is changing about what's possible. Because a lot of times we can't have that new in our life because we're still playing old tapes of what we expect, right? I can't expect a good day if I go out into the day going, it's about to be a shitty day. You're gonna always
absolutely will.
You're going to find exactly what you expect. So if you go out in the world thinking that older Black women don't support me or they don't see me or they don't believe in me, then you will keep running into older Black women that don't. If you change that programming, and you look around and go, well, Yvette believes in me and this person believes in me. So that means the thing you've been telling yourself ain't even true. It's a lie that you're repeating to yourself. And we do that all the time. We often rehearse the bad shit. We rehearse the stuff that's horrible and we don't speak life over the things that we want, right? We don't speak on those things like the Bible says, speak on these things that are good and are true. That's what we're supposed to be rehearsing and saying and giving to other people. So it's going to change for you. You're going to have more older Black women that are going to come into your life and tell you who you are.
And I'm definitely going to speak that into existence myself and have that accountability of like, yes, so a man thinketh as though that is what you will be.
Right.
Like I want to surround myself around people that see me and that love me and support me. And I'm happy that you're one of them.
Yes.
Everyone, I hope this has been an amazing experience for you all as it has been for myself. Like this is not something in timing, right? Like known her for years through social media, but I'm like, you know what? I only got it together. I'm being back consistent. We're on season 3 of the show. Yes. So all the blessings and success to you, sis. Love you to pieces. And I'm just so I'm just so happy to have the opportunity to talk with you.
Thanks for having me. You're so good at this.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
It's always joy.
It's always good.
It's always chosen.
It's always chosen.
And always Black.
Always black.
And always Black.
I'm always Black.